Tonight's big stories. President Marcos pitches the Maharlika Investment Fund to investors in the Middle East, with Malacanang claiming several Saudi Arabian business leaders are keen on it.
Israel continues to bombard Gaza, even as more world leaders call for a ceasefire. Humanitarian aid into Gaza is delayed as the two sides try to hammer out a deal.
Care for some instant chop suey or pinakbet? The Agriculture Department recently released these instant vegetable dishes to address hunger and malnutrition in the country. We'll be speaking with the DA's partner in the program, Farm Fresh Products co-founder Rap Pelayo.
Welcome to the show. I'm Regina Lay.
I'm Gretchen Ho.
And I'm Dani Laurel.
Well, President Marcos was in Riyadh today for the ASEAN Gulf Cooperation Council Summit in Riyadh, as I said. And top of his agenda was pitching the Maharlika Investment Fund to Saudi Arabian business leaders. He had a roundtable with them just hours after he clarified that the suspension of Maharlika's IRR does not mean that the fund has been put on hold. The Sovereign Wealth Fund is still expected to be operational by year end. Here's the president selling the MIF to Middle Eastern investors.
This is the recently launched Maharlika Investment Fund, the Philippines' first ever sovereign investment fund designed to drive long-term economic development through increased investments in high-impact sectors. We look forward to benefiting not just from Saudi investments, but also from the kingdom's extensive experience in managing such funds.
Finance Secretary Ben Diokno was also in that meeting, and there he told Saudi business leaders that the administration is banking on the Maharlika Fund to boost the implementation of 197 flagship infrastructure projects. These projects are in agriculture, digital connectivity, and energy, among other priority areas. He also assured prospective investors that the MIF is subject to accountability and transparency.
Financial reporting shall be in accordance with the relevant international financing reporting standards and principles. There will be 3 layers of audit based on law by an internal auditor, a third-party external auditor, and a supreme audit agency independent of the government.
It's interesting that he's there right now because, as everyone knows, Saudi Arabia has one of the largest sovereign wealth funds in the world. It's actually called the PIF, Public Investment Fund, worth about $600 to $700 billion. But the curious thing about the PIF is that it's also come under heavy criticism, shall we say, because of its involvement in sports, right? So it's took majority control of 4 clubs, football clubs, right?
Yeah.
That's how they were able to bring big names like Cristiano Ronaldo over. They took over Newcastle United, which is a Premier League football club, right? And so what some analysts are saying is that this is sport washing, right?
Right.
A way for them to use
Forcing their oil money, though.
Correct.
They have extra money,
using
nothing
the fund
to do with
money
it,
to try to, shall we say, sanitize their image abroad, right? Because Saudi Arabia, let's remember, still has very restrictive laws for women and also the LGBT community.
Well, they do have a lot of money.
Yes,
that
that
they can
one
use
you can't deny.
For the Sovereign Wealth Fund. But as you mentioned, it's also been quite controversial, raising a lot of eyebrows when it comes to the investments done. Also, Saudi Arabia has been accused of numerous human rights violations.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and that's why they're accused of sports washing.
Yeah. But Danny's right. They do have a lot of oil money.
They have extra money.
Yeah.
I mean, the same is for the Norwegian Sovereign Wealth
Yeah,
Fund. They literally just give cash.
Well, for
around
sure.
to
So
people.
it's like,
So it's not really very similar to the Maharlika.
it's like the question
fund,
you
right?
posed former BSP Deputy Governor Diwa Ginigundo the other day, which is like, we don't have that kind of surplus.
Saudi pera.
We don't have that kind
But
of
for
surplus.
sure, President Marcos was met with more open minds there.
Yes,
They are
could be.
familiar with the Sovereign Wealth Fund. But how exactly did the investors respond to the pitch of the Philippine government? Well, the Executive General of Saudi's PIF, Mulhan Al-Bakri, has showed interest in the MIF, as well as executives of JADA, which is one of the biggest investment funds in Saudi. Saudi's Ministry of Investment is also confident that the Maharlika will entice more investors, citing the Philippines' reputation of being one of the fastest growing markets in ASEAN.
In this sector from Saudi Arabia who are eager to hear more about the investment opportunities in one of ASEAN's most exciting markets and learn more about the newly launched Maharlika Investment Fund that you have launched under your administration.
And in that same meeting, the Philippine government says it secured billions in dollars worth of investment pledges. Mon Gualvez joins us from Riyadh to give us the details. Mon.
That's right, Danny. The Philippines actually secured $4.26 billion worth of investment pledges just on the first day of President Bongbong Marcos' first visit here in Saudi Arabia as the president of the country. Aside from showing interest in the Maharlika Investment Fund, Saudi business leaders are also looking to partner with corporations here in the Philippines. Among them is Saudi's Al Rushaid Petroleum Investment Corporation and Samsung Engineering, which signed $120 million worth of business deal with the Philippines EEI Corporation for construction export services. Marcos says this investment commitment will open job opportunities for more than 15,000 Filipinos. The state-owned petroleum and natural gas company Aramco also expressed interest in directly investing in the Philippines' petroleum industry.
We are actively in discussion with a number of partners in the Philippines for long-term supply arrangements. And if we're lucky, inshallah, we will have one day an Aramco gas station or Aramco lubricants being sold directly to consumers in the Philippines.
President Marcos also took the opportunity to invite business leaders to visit the Philippines. And now, earlier today, the president attended more meetings with different leaders of Gulf nations and the ASEAN. This is just a one-day summit and is the first of its kind. The ASEAN GCC is still ongoing, and right now, it's all about the ongoing war in Israel. Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman in his opening speech expressed his sadness over the killing of innocent lives in Gaza and his support to all efforts being done to achieve a just solution in what he calls the Palestinian cause. On the part of ASEAN, this year's chairman Joko Widodo expressed his call for the violence to end in behalf of the 10 member nations. President Bongbong Marcos is expected to return to the Philippines later this evening. Danny.
Thank you so much, Mon Gualvez, reporting to us from Riyadh.
Definitely an important meeting with Saudi Arabia. If we do get the supplies of fuel, as we all know, there's a threat of oil prices rising.
Correct.
With the tensions in the region and the war between Israel and Hamas. And speaking of, the second batch of repatriated OFWs from Israel are now back in the country. Department heads welcomed back 18 migrant workers earlier this afternoon. Aside from the DFA, Health and Social Welfare Department representatives were there to provide medical and psychosocial support to the returning Filipinos. The first batch of repatriates from Israel arrived Wednesday. Officials are still working on the repatriation of close to 80 Filipinos stuck along the Rafah border between Gaza and Egypt. Well, all eyes are on that border. The WHO said it will be hopefully open today, Friday, but it hasn't opened. It's been delayed, and I believe the two factions, the three countries are working it out. Israel, Egypt, and of course deals with Hamas, saying that if they are going to bring humanitarian aid into Gaza, if Hamas takes it hostage, then that will be the end of it.
So the three sides are still working it out. I believe the UN is also involved at this point, but really they needed to get it done yesterday, right? I mean, still a few hundreds stuck at the border trying to get out, whilst Israel every day is signaling that they're preparing for a ground invasion.
And a lot is visa related, very procedural. It's not actually the fact that they they're allowed to be leaving because they're not from there. But yeah, and you also have the U.S. in fact now giving money and aid to Palestine for this issue, particularly.
There was you're right about the procedural. I even saw one news item report that, I can't remember the news outlet, I apologize, report that Israel wanted to inspect the aid, the trucks, that were coming into Gaza to make sure that they're not used for the military.
there weren't any
for the fight.
weapons
Yes,
inside?
exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what's holding
And I
it
also
up.
think that they're negotiating for fuel to be let in to be able to power the hospitals inside Gaza.
And of course,
Our country, our president has definitely made it clear in several statements that the Philippines stands with Israel versus the attacks of Hamas. VP Sara Duterte, meanwhile, calls for a ceasefire and warns Filipinos about the potential spillover effects from the war. Let's listen to this.
Ako'y nananawagan sa aking mga kapwa Pilipino na ipahayag ang isang tigil putukan at dalhin ang usapin ng kapayapaan sa mesa. Binibigyang diin ko ang paghahanda ninyo, mga kababayan ko, sa posibleng kahirapan na dulot ng pandaigdigang kaguluhan.
Well, taking the side of Palestine is the Bangsamoro Parliament, who has condemned the hostilities against Palestinians. In a resolution, the BARM government also called for the safe return of Palestinians to their homeland and the rehabilitation of the territory. Aside from declaring a day of prayer, that's on October 27, Pope Francis also continues to pray for migrants and refugees.
Partono ingannati dai trafficanti senza scrupoli. Vengono poi venduti come merce di scambio. Vengono sequestrati, imprigionati, sfruttati, resi schiavi. Vengono umiliati, torturati, violentati e tanti muoiono senza arrivare mai alla meta.
Now, it's been nearly 2 weeks since war first broke out in Gaza. Just how difficult is it to arrange these cross-border rescues? We have Elaine Fulgencio for the details. Elaine, go ahead.
Aside from coordinating with foreign governments and racing against time to do so, the government also has to consider the work arrangement of these repatriates. From today's batch of returnees, 14 are caregivers while 4 are hotel workers. Some of them already have expired contracts while others chose to resign out of fear for their safety. One of them is Elmer, who has 2 children here in the Philippines.
Every time po na tumutunog po yung sirena po, tumatakbo na po ako sa bomb shelter. At kausap ko rin po yung misis ko na naririnig din po na natatakot. Kaya po pinapauwi na rin po ako.
But going home from abroad is really easier said than done. The DMW said even if they want to fast-track repatriations, there is also the lack of flights out of Tel Aviv.
Ang hamon pong kinakaharap ng ating opisina doon ngayon ay yung regular na available na flights galing sa Tel Aviv. So yun po ang tinatrabaho ng ating mga kasama sa OWA at DMW sa Israel na makakuha po tayo ng regular flights para din po sa mga susunod pang repatriation.
The assistance does not stop there, Danny. After successfully repatriating our kababayans, there's also the financial assistance to be given up to 120,000 pesos from the DMW, OWA, and DSWD. TESDA and DSWD also have to work on livelihood and scholarship programs for these returning Filipinos. The DMW says repatriation efforts will continue to accommodate those wishing to go home and escape the war. Authorities are also hoping to find the 2 missing Filipinos, although the chances of finding them get slimmer by day. Danny?
Thank you for that update, Elaine.
the husband of the 4th Filipino casualty in the Israel conflict is still clinging on to hope that his wife is still alive and is only just missing. Rainiel Pawid has that story.
Kung ano man yung mga pagkakasala ko, nagawa kong nasaktan kita, sana patawarin mo ko at alam mo naman talaga kung gaano kita kamahal.
Domingo Cabrera can no longer shed a tear upon appearing at OWA Central Luzon office in San Fernando, Pampanga. He is Grace Cabrera's husband, the 4th Filipino casualty of Israel-Hamas war. Last Wednesday, Domingo received a phone call from officials of Philippine Embassy in Tel Aviv confirming that Grace's profile matched the fingerprints of a recovered cadaver. But Domingo is still holding on to the slim chance that her wife is alive.
Sa ngayon, sir, umaasa pa rin ako na hanggat hindi na kikita ng kapatid niya yung katawan niya, ay buhay pa siya.
Over the weekend, Grace's sister, who's also based in Israel, is set to visit the morgue to personally identify the alleged body of the Filipina. Grace has been an OFW for almost 2 decades. In 2018, she became a caregiver in Israel. According to Domingo, his wife's savings may have also been taken by the Hamas attackers.
So meron na siyang nakaredy na pera, ngayon lang, ang mahirap, parang hindi na yata nakita dun sa bahay ni Abiba. Wala na yung mga gamit na iba.
Meanwhile, the Overseas Workers Welfare Administration will shoulder the flight expenses of Grace's family in Iloilo to Pampanga. Grace's wake will be near their residence in Apalit, Pampanga.
Nag-commit naman kami na tutulungan namin sila na makarating dito sa Pampanga para nandito sila sa pag nakaburol na hanggang may libing na yung OFW.
According to OWA, once Grace clearance papers are processed, it will only take a week for her remains to be sent home. OWA Administrator Arnel Ignacio also confirmed that the remains of Loretta Alacre, another Filipino casualty in Israel, will be home by Saturday. Rainiel Pawid, WR1 News.
Up next, some organizations in UP Diliman may face possible sanctions after a list of extreme dares for their members circulated online. That story and more when we return.
And you're back watching the big story here on One News. Now, homecoming for our OFWs is supposed to be a happy moment for the family, but sadly it was not the case for Cheryl Bravante, whose son died allegedly from hazing. Cheryl returned home from Oman today to find her son Aldrin in a coffin. The fourth-year criminology student was allegedly killed after undergoing initiation rites to be part of the Tau Gamma Phi fraternity. 6 suspects in the hazing or alleged hazing have already surrendered to the authorities, and police say they have a solid case that will lead to a conviction. Cheryl continues to hope for justice for her son and for the government to implement the anti-hazing law more effectively.
Yung mga na hindi pa po nahuhuli, sana po makonsensya po sila na sumuko po sila, panagutan po nila yung ginawa nila kay Aldrin. Sana po yung batas natin. Kasi nakakalungkot. Yung ganong way lang, mawawala yung buhay. Na, sayang, di ba? Kasi ang dami pong pangarap ng bata.
So just an update on this situation now, because it's still alleged until it's of course proven, but the police have said they've seen at least 60 paddle blows. Might have happened to his body from his supposed bros. And now 14 are identified in terms of the people facing criminal charges. 2 are known by aliases. You've also got robbery complaints. 20,000.
Nakawan pa.
Nakawan pa. 20,000 pesos in cash, including a cell phone and wallet, were allegedly missing.
The police have yet to actually officially state the cause of death, right? But as you said, they found around 60 paddle blows. You can imagine already the brutality
Sustained trauma
of this crime. Sustained trauma on the lower extremities. And there was hematoma on both of his legs, as well as burned cigarette marks on the chest. So I'm so sorry to be so graphic about this. But yeah, this is just underscores the brutality of this crime.
So the results of the autopsy are still going to be released. So they're still waiting for that. It's from the QCPD to determine, of course, the cause of death.
And as
But
you
we do
mentioned the
have-
other day, this is the third death related to Tau Gamma Phi in recent years,
Yeah.
and we still
Second this
have
year.
yet to hear of changes.
Yeah, actually, there was after that last case, there was a whole kerfuffle around it. There was hearings in the Senate, in Congress, but after that, I don't know what was
They
the
said
resolution.
the fraternities in different chapters run on their own independently.
Okay.
But the question is again, how do we change the culture?
Correct.
Right.
Correct. How do we exact accountability
And
for
speaking
all these
of
crimes?
accountability, I wonder who will be responsible. And speaking of hazing, some organizations in UP Diliman are in hot water over inappropriate and hazing-like campus activities. Marian Enriquez with the story.
The so-called Dare Games of some organizations in the University of the Philippines, Diliman, went viral on social media, and for all the wrong reasons. A leaked list on Reddit showed that among the dares for members include picking up feces of animals in the sunken garden and rubbing it all over their hands, the licking of pavements, finishing a whole 700 ml bottle of gin and walking 5 steps forward. Now, if you think those are already terrible, other dares are more sexual in nature. These include strip-teasing for 2 minutes, working out shirtless while moaning, twisting on other guys' nipples, and even back-hugging their grandmothers or mothers and grabbing their breasts from behind. 2 organizations are involved in the issue, the UP Junior Marketing Association or JMA and the UP Economic Society or ECOSOC. According to the organizations, the dares are voluntary. But even if that is true, the university says it does not condone such acts. UP is currently investigating the issue. Their Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs says initiation rites are common among fraternities, but this is the first time they've heard of such activities in school organizations. The UP administration is still finding out if there have been complaints filed on the matter. They're also calling on students to come forward if they have been victims of harassment or if their rights have been violated.
Maganda kung may mga patunay talaga na nangyari itong mga to at sa patunay hindi yung third party na account kundi mismo mula sa mga taong personal na nakaranas upang agad nating ma-rectify. Walang lugar ang anumang uri ng karahasan o pangmamaliit sa dignidad, sexual or otherwise. Lahat yan ay tinututulan at kinukondena ng universidad.
The organization may face suspension or lose their accreditation if the accusations against them are proven. And if there are individual students involved, they may also face disciplinary actions, from suspension to expulsion. For News 5, Marian Enriquez, we are One News.
Medyo nakakahiya yung mga dares, ano? Making out with a tree trunk, shouting at an enforcer.
Licking the pavement.
Oh my gosh, striptease act for 2 minutes.
And there's plenty that we can't even mention on air.
I know.
I was reading the list. I was like,
Really? Even worse than this?
Yeah. I was like, how can this be real? It's a very long list. I'm up to 50 plus.
With initiation rights still?
What I know of
why?
JMAs from the universities is that marketing association nga siya.
Yeah.
Usually they're involved in parties, diba? Parang networking.
Networking events, that's
It's
right.
the first time I've heard of this
Extreme
kind.
dares.
But sabi nga, ComWars,
It's a
Committee
well-known
Wars
brand.
daw ito in
Okay.
celebration of their anniversary.
Celebration, yeah. And they did not actually deny that these dares happened. They even said it was
That's the
consensual. They
crux of
said
it.
it's part of what they usually do.
There's
the
a
UP
statement.
says. Yeah, let's
Says,
run that
we
statement.
sincerely apologize for the nature of these dares and how it has jeopardized the integrity of the safe spaces we work hard to foster within and outside the organization. These dares are part of our internal committee wars, which takes place every May. We want to clarify that applicants and members alike were not and will never be required to participate in the dares. Steps were made to ensure that consent is given at every level, and both the completion and non-completion of the dares have zero bearing on applicants' grades. That's a lot of words to say that yes,
it happened.
it is
The list is
a list that we,
Yeah.
that
they're not forced to do, but
they're not
exists.
forced to do it. Yes, applicants are not forced to do it, but there's such a thing as peer pressure, right? There's such a thing as
Well, in defense of other UP orgs, other orgs have loosened or done away with internal hazing like humiliating inappropriate activities since UP implemented more stringent measures versus hazing rights.
Yeah.
Right? So it's not all. But this is.
You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of the gray zone tactics in the West Philippine
nga,
Sea.
no?
It's not black and
Naglalaro
white,
ka eh.
but it's
Parang hindi naman
almost
namin
like
pinagagawa, pero kung gusto nyo
Correct.
gawin.
Yes.
And it's humiliation, eh. So
Correct.
it's, I mean, the list
And I
is a
wonder,
humiliating
now
list.
just taking
It's
a look
not-
at theirs, kasi syempre, uso yan pag college, naghahamunan kayo, di ba? But I wonder what values they want to bring out, right? Kasi if we talk about shouting at an enforcer,
it's just for laughs, most of these things,
It's very
right?
rude.
Yeah.
Right? So you don't see the
How
point.
far
Yeah.
can you...
And like we said, there's a lot of items on these lists that we can't even mention on air that just does not make any sense to us. It's completely illogical. And it's just for the embarrassment of it, right?
Well, the UP Student Council has condemned the culture of violence and harassment in groups, and they have been removed as hosts or handlers of the UP Fair for 2024,
Okay.
the UP JMA.
Yeah.
And then there's another one who apologized. That's the UP ECOSOC, so the Eco Society, so not JMA, for the list of activities in a scavenger hunt that apparently also has inappropriate activities. So inunahan na. Inunahan na nila. Kami din may list.
What is it?
Sorry
These
na.
orgs trying to one-up each other? My
They
goodness.
apologized in advance of the...
Okay, anyways,
There you go.
I'm gonna move on to the other news now before it gets stressed out. Magnitude 5.9 earthquake hit Davao de Oro earlier today. Based on FIVOLC's earthquake information, the ground motion was detected 35 kilometers southeast of New Bataan, Davao de Oro at 2:58 a.m. The Davao de Oro provincial government is not expecting any major damage from the 5.9 earthquake, and so far they've found minor cracks in some of the hospitals due to the tremor. Photos and videos showed patients being evacuated earlier from the Davao de Oro hospital. The quake, though, has prompted provincial government to suspend classes in all levels in both private and public schools.
Actually, yung mga reports kasi, situational reports from the ground sa ating mga MLGUs, ongoing pa po. But so far naman, wala tayong naitala na mga major damages. Sa ating mga hospital naman, kasi mayroong 4 na provincial hospitals ang Davao de Oro. Unfortunately, may mga nakitaan ng mga bagong cracks, although hindi pa naman major. Safe naman no, ang ating mga pasyente at ating mga staff at saka mga watchers.
Up next, pork barrel queen Janet Napoles gets 64 more years in prison for her role in the multi-million peso PDAF scam. The details when we return.
Welcome back. You're still watching the big story here on One News.
Well, this also caused quite the tremor today. Anti-graft court Sandigan Bayan has sentenced Janet Lim Napoles to 64 more years in prison in relation to the pork barrel scam. Napoles was convicted of multiple counts of graft and malversation of public funds for the unauthorized disbursement of 20 million pesos. This was from former South Cotabato Representative Arthur Pingoy Jr.'s Priority Development Assistance Fund, or PDAF. Napoles and her co-accused have also been ordered to return the amount plus fines. Pingoy, on the other hand, was acquitted in all of his cases.
Now, after weeks of oil price rollbacks, back to reality na. Aside from higher winter season demand, the Israel-Hamas conflict is also affecting oil prices in the global market. The Energy Department sees pump prices going up next week, more than 1 peso for diesel and kerosene and up to 85 centavos for gasoline. Now, similar to the Russia-Ukraine war, the conflict between Israel and Hamas is seen to drive oil prices higher in the coming weeks.
Related lahat doon, although ang talagang naging impact ng kaguluhan, not on the direct supply disruption, but rather on the increase in the prices. Alam naman natin yung fear, yung speculation, mga haka-haka, nagpapataas siya ng presyo.
Meanwhile, the Philippine Association of Meat Processors is requesting for a 36 centavo to 2 peso hike in canned meat products. For now, this remains a petition and will need the approval of the Trade Department.
Nakikiusap lang kami dahil yun talaga ang kinakailangan. Pero hindi naman siguro aabot dun sa high side na 2 pesos o 2.50 per can ang epekto. Kasi ganun din, kawawa din yung mga mamimili.
The amihan season is here, as announced by Pagasa. This means that the country should brace for cooler months ahead. For those who don't know the term amihan, or northeast monsoon, that's the cool weather experienced during the holiday season as cool and dry northeast wind from Siberia and China blows down to Southeast Asia. Pagasa declared the start of the amihan season due to strong northeasterly winds prevailing over northern Luzon. Despite this, dry spells may still be experienced in some areas due to El Nino. Aside from amihan, the shear line, or the convergence of cold and warm winds, is also affecting parts of the country. Make sure to pack your umbrellas as the shear line is bringing cloudy skies with scattered rain showers and thunderstorms in Metro Manila, Calabarzon, Aurora, and Nueva Ecija, as well as Pampanga, Bulacan, and Camarines Norte. Meanwhile, amihan is also causing cloudy skies with light rains over in Cagayan, Isabela, Apayao, and Kalinga.
Now, pausing for a quick break. Right after that, we will be speaking with Farm Fresh Products co-founder Rap Pelayo regarding their recent collaboration with the Department of Agriculture on instant vegetable meals. Don't miss that.
You're also watching a big story here on One News.
How do you guys feel about instant vegetable meals?
Well, instant and vegetable are two words I never imagined would be together.
Exactly, right?
Smoothie means smoothie.
But listen to this. The Agriculture Department recently launched instant vegetable buy-ins as part of the government solution to hunger and malnutrition. The DA, in collaboration with Farm Fresh Products, made the meals so that they can be easily prepared by individuals. So far, the available options are instant chop suey and pinakbet. The meals are ready to serve after a few minutes of being put in boiling water. This initiative is part of the DA's Adopt a Town, Adopt a Farmer program, which encourages farmers to supply fruits and vegetables to food concessionaires and other buyers. The agency believes that this approach will help local farmers market their products and minimize post-harvest losses and wastage of farm produce. Along with this, the DA also specified that these meals be utilized in the feeding programs of various agencies, as well as for individuals deprived of liberty and in disaster relief operations. Well, here to speak to us about the so-called instant veggie meals, we have with us in the studio Farm Fresh Products co-founder Rap Pelayo. Good evening, Rap.
Good
Welcome
evening,
to the
ladies.
big
Thank you for
story.
having me.
You have a lot of explaining to do. What is instant vegetable meals?
This becomes that
Okay.
right away.
Let's start first with the project.
Okay.
So my company, Farm Fresh Products Incorporated, recently partnered with the Department of Agriculture, and we're going to launch the Adopt a Farm, Adopt a Town program. And our goal here is the DA would provide technical assistance from our company, and we could directly be in contact with farms that we would readily procure any excess vegetables or fruits that they may have, and we'll turn them into byproducts such as the instant chop suey and pinakbet.
Extra. What do you
Yes,
mean by
the excess.
extra exactly?
Well, one of the inspirations that we had here was you would see people on social media, the farmers, they're trying to sell the excess
Yes.
produce that they have.
Yes, before
and
they go bad.
Yes, they're pleading for help. So our goal is we would procure those vegetables instead of it becoming to waste or rotting in the fields, they would be converted into these byproducts.
Okay, kasi when you first hear instant veggie meals or instant vegetables, I don't know, instant noodles come to my mind.
Yes.
Something that is in a packet, is preserved, but these are not.
Yes. So our goal with the instant chop suey and pinakbet is to price match these instant noodles and the canned goods that you would often be seen in the calamity areas, in the evacuation centers. Because one of the stories that we would hear is in times of storms, these people would be spending their time in the evacuation center for more than a week and having the everyday diet of instant noodles and canned goods, it would pose these health risks.
Yeah.
So we hope with the instant chop suey and pinakbet, we get to supply these and promote a healthy
How much
alternative.
preservatives are in there?
There are none.
None.
We use
How
a
is
flash
that
frozen.
possible?
We use a flash blast freezing method for it to be preserved for
Similar
for
to
this.
the blast freezing method they use for seafood?
Yes.
Okay,
so
like
that
they catch
method
the
is
seafood,
also
they blast
used
freeze,
is also
they
used in
export.
meat and seafood and other
So
goods.
zero preservatives,
Zero at
just
all.
a method.
Wait, so this
Yes.
will last inside a normal freezer?
Yes.
How long? How long?
Well, based on our R&D, it's poised to last for about 2 years.
What?
Yeah.
Are you
Wait,
serious?
yes.
I don't
as,
believe this.
As long as it's in the freezer and it's kept in a good condition, 2 years.
Okay.
So,
I want to see.
if you may, we have.
What kind
works
of
in-
vegetables?
Okay, let's
can
show.
get in
So,
the bag?
so the chop suey is made up of highland vegetables, and the pinakbet
Okay,
is
here.
made up
You have
of
carrots,
low
sayote
land
ba ito?
vegetables.
Wait lang. Production
Collie,
date,
bell peppers,
October 15.
beans,
2 years
carrots,
talaga, ha?
Yes.
sayote.
But 2 years in a regular freezer.
Yes, it should be kept in a freezing temperature. So, if you may, we have
Mushrooms as well.
What
Mushrooms.
vegetables
parang
can be
is long.
included in this bag?
For
Actually,
veggies,
I think I want to
we're
eat
just
it already.
using the traditional recipes of chop suey and
guess you
pinakbet
need
for
a
this.
big
Yeah, for now.
Yes, for now.
Okay.
Okay, sorry, your target market is whom for this? Is it normal consumers? Is it poor,
With
indigents?
our partnership with the DA, we're first rolling this out for government agencies like the Bucor for inmates,
Okay.
for the DSWD and the DepEd for their feeding programs, and even the
Okay.
Department of National Defense for our servicemen. and
So you're
women.
not selling this commercially?
We are aiming to serve these commercially once we roll out to the public market.
So addressing the groups first, the communities where fresh produce is difficult to get to.
Yes.
Okay.
So hopefully with our partnership with the DA, they get to link us with the people. And what I'm confident about this project is our partners are industry leaders in the field of aquaculture, poultry, fruits, vegetables, and even industry leaders in restaurants and fast food chains. So I'm pretty confident that with the support of the government and the private sector, we get to procure as much ingredients from our farmers as we can.
Doesn't the freezing process take away some of the nutrients or vitamins, especially if this one will
I know
last
the answer
for
to
2
this.
years?
Well, we did R&D. We tried the dehydration method and we tried the
Okay.
flash freezing method. And based on our results, the flash freezing method deems to be the better product in terms of sustaining those needed nutrients.
And this is why I buy cauliflower heads frozen.
Really?
Right? Because sometimes in the grocery, by the time it gets transported to Metro Manila, parang sometimes may worms
Yeah.
na, there's black bits. Whereas,
It's safer.
Yeah, whereas you buy cauliflower florets in the bag in the supermarket and you check the nutrition label, it's actually more or less the same.
Me naman, my favorite is the soups because then
Yeah.
when I'm not in the mood to cook, I just pop it in. So this one, how do you defrost it? You boil water?
It's somewhat
You
of
pop
a
it in?
sous vide method. Once you boil water, you just put it in the bag, which is also food grade. It's safe. Just put it there.
Yeah.
In under 8 to 10 minutes, you're already good to go.
Magkano?
It's such
That's a
big
good
bag.
idea. Magkano, I like it.
Right now, one bag is around the 100 peso range, and it can feed about 4 to 5 people.
So wait, one bag meaning kasama na tong dalawa?
Yes.
That's the
vegetables
sauce.
and the
The
sauce.
kit, the sauce,
Sorry,
and the
how much?
vegetables.
100?
In the 100 peso range.
100 pesos per
Yes.
bag. Okay.
And it can feed 4 to 5 people. And
That's
once
pretty
we
good.
do our
That's pretty
costing,
good.
once we get it to scale, we're planning on keeping the cost minimal.
At 100 peso per kit, you're making money?
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
Wow.
As long as everything's at scale and we
Because
get
this
our
is
raw
pretty
materials from
sizable. I
excess.
just wanted to point out. Yes, you're right. It's ilang
yeah, but
grams
per
ba to?
kilo naman, diba, you'd
Ilang
spend.
That one is the
grams.
500 gram
Yeah,
kit
it's pretty
with the
heavy. It's like
500
it's
grams.
good for a family for a meal.
Okay.
I think it's amazing. Why did we only discover this now?
Feeling ko may catch.
Diba?
Rap, what is
Yeah.
the catch here?
What is the catch here?
Is it more efficient?
I think the catch here is you're not going to be finished with one bag. You're going to get another.
Is it more efficient to get the waste, quote unquote, from the farmers rather than help the farmers not have waste?
Well, with this project, our aim is to really support our farmers have a more commercial interaction. So
Okay.
for them, rather than planting 1 hectare of crops or 2 hectares, we're thinking of an industry. We want 10 hectares, 50 hectares, 100 hectares. This promotes industrial farming and it becoming byproduct. So there's a sense of entrepreneurship in terms of both the farmer and the partner.
Parang they won't be afraid to scale
Yes.
because somebody will buy.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Teka, kanina pa
The
tayo
waste.
nagsasalita. Tikman na lang natin yung
I was
pagkain.
just gonna say,
Wow!
Kinda.
you keep selling it to us, but you know the proof is
Better
in the
be
pudding.
healthy,
So,
Let's
Gretchen,
taste
please
it.
taste.
Okay.
Okay.
You tell us.
My personal favorite is the chop suey.
Ako
I
lang?
don't know which one do you guys
local?
use?
Let me see your
Yes,
reaction.
everything's
know
local.
confidence.
Cauliflower
Let me
is
see your
local.
reaction first, and then I'll try.
Di ba naman ako sobrang hilig sa
Layo
ano? Sige. Let me see. Ah.
Ako, I'm really
This is
hungry
the
because it's
chop
already-
suey.
Yes, the chop suey.
9
It's
o'clock.
it's made by our partners from Seafood Island. They're also the people behind Crustacea, Red
Yes,
Crab.
that's right. I was gonna say they have a chain of seafood
Yeah,
restaurants.
they even brought in Wolfgang Steakhouse here in the country as well.
Oh, that's also theirs.
Yes.
Okay. Why you
How does it taste like?
Ang tagal naman ng...
parang okay,
You're
ito na
supposed
lang,
to
ito
say
na lang.
yum.
I need an honest
Ito na lang.
review.
If you didn't know that that came out of a bag, would you have believed me if I told you it did?
Medyo nag-iba yung texture nung parang sayote. Medyo mas soggy siya ng konti. Kasi, syempre, may pinagdaanan na yung sayote. Alangan naman, super fresh,
Yeah,
right?
I love it.
So, may effect sa vegetable, but it's still good.
Is it the
I
rest is
would
still
eat it. I
crunchy?
would still eat it.
Ako, I
Yes,
would
the rest is
just
still
buy it
crunchy.
for
It's
the
still
fact that
crunchy.
I never have to cook again.
From
So-
a commercial
Wait, let me
standpoint, my
check.
brother would always tell me this.
Wait,
would
sorry,
you rather
this is
make chop suey
pre-cooked,
from scratch?
right?
Yes,
Pre-cooked,
yes.
pre-cooked.
Would you rather buy chop suey from scratch, buy all the vegetables and cut up, or would you rather have it in this packaging?
I
and
like the
have it in
sauce
8
though.
minutes?
I like the sauce.
Yes.
Sarap.
Um,
And the carrots are crunchy.
What's the pricing difference from these ones compared to if you go to a supermarket and see those frozen veggies?
Well, they buy their vegetables from the source, and they buy it from by market price. So here
Okay.
we're focused on two aspects: buying the excess vegetables and contract growing. So
I like the
we get a
pinakbet.
good deal from.
Actually, I can
So
smell
it's
the
cheaper
pinakbet
talaga.
from
Yung
here.
pinakbet parang may bagoong pa.
Masarap yung pinakbet.
I can smell it here. It smells good.
How about the shrimp? Where does the shrimp come from? Or you added that?
Yeah, we
you added that.
we have some partners who do.
It's not
seafood
part
as
of
So
the
it's
well.
not part of the kit, ha?
Yes,
It's there in
the
sauce.
sauce?
I
Shrimp.
think it's there. Is it? Yes, yes, it's there. All right.
Why don't we do blast freezing on everything else?
It's a new thing, eh.
Cold storage.
Galing, ang galing.
There's not enough cold
Kasi
storage
even
facilities.
the meat now, I buy everything blast frozen, eh.
What's
Not
the
fresh.
so what's the rollout plan for this? You said at some point you're gonna do
Sometime next
go
year
commercial.
we'll be ready to roll this up for the government agencies, and after that we'll do commercial.
How did you get the DA on board, or did they go to you?
Well, we wanted to get the D on board so we can get direct contact with the
No, but
farmers.
how?
So
Like, did they go to you, or you went
we-
to them
we
and
went
pitched
to
this?
them.
Okay.
and hopefully with this partnership we got to help a lot of farmers as we can.
Well, for those who are watching and would know of farmers who would need your help, how would they get in touch with you? And will you have stores in the future where you'll be more accessible?
Well, they can contact me personally through rap@farmfreshphilippines.com for any inquiry, and
That's RAP.
RAP. And when it comes to the stores, we'll have partners who will help us distribute this to many Filipino families.
And is the goal to focus on veggies for now?
For
Like,
now.
what's the next in line?
Hopefully, we'll get to find any similar product and use the same integration of technology and make new byproducts as
How
well.
do you determine the farm gate price you'll get?
That
from
is through
farmers?
the assistance of the DA as well. Yes,
How do you
prov-
quality control?
Quality
Is there
control.
such a thing in this?
Well, when it comes to getting it to the commissary, they would scan which is fit for the byproduct.
Okay.
What do you mean by that? Like,
There's still a level of quality.
You have to look for like bugs or
yeah. So somebody
diba?
does
someone
that
will,
one by one.
That's
will
not
inspect
bad.
them manually
Yeah.
yes,
Manually.
before it
Okay,
gets,
that's
How,
good.
how
gets to the...
huge is your operation? Like how much vegetables can you take in? How many people can
Right
inspect
now-
the vegetables?
Right now, we are in talks with the government departments, and we are exchanging figures and data, and we will tailor fit those figures and data to our production capabilities.
What's next? What's the next meal you plan to do? Sinigang?
How about fruit?
Probably
line.
nilaga and sisig.
I dare you
Just
to
kidding.
try gising.
Gising.
Ay, oo.
Lying.
Frozen. And
No,
I put
but
it in a bag.
what about fruit? If you open and chop it and blast freeze it,
Yes,
will
that's
that last?
possible. You would
Okay,
see
like the
other people doing that for
blueberries.
their smoothies.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's what we do. But not
Exactly.
2 years.
Yeah, we can do that as well for like mangoes or durian, any other Filipino fruit for that.
You know, I'll give up my fast food for this for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it means eating healthier.
Yeah.
What's the response that you've gotten from those who
Well,
tried
people
vegetables?
have gone crazy over it. They want more, and all I can say is kindly wait until next year, please.
We should do solo
Galing, galing.
meals,
Galing,
diba?
galing.
Because like
Or
people
baka
in
pwedeng sa
condos don't
schools
want.
din, ano?
Oo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it would be good to tie up with
Then
the
you'd
schools,
have. Then you
DepEd.
don't have to make
Yes.
it in
With VP
these
Sara,
packets.
di ba? DepEd.
Hopefully, VP Sara
Actually,
kindly.
nutrition kasi. Baby
Okay.
meals.
Okay, a lot of
You know,
pictures.
the
so
baby,
many.
the
The bottom
pureed
line is
baby
everyone
meals.
needs to eat more vegetables.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's something we're very adamant about.
Good
Okay,
idea.
thank you so much for joining us. That was Farm Fresh Products.
Thank you very much for
Co-founder
having me.
Rap
Good
Pelayo.
way to end our week.
Yeah,
right?
I'm not
On a
done
healthy
eating
note.
yet. Guys, before we let you go, here's our big picture for tonight. We've got COMELEC Chairman George Garcia taking down an illegally posted campaign material as part of the poll body's Oplan Baklas. This operation began earlier today. That's day 2 of the campaign period for the barangay and SK elections. Among the campaign materials taken down by the COMELEC are those attached to posts, fences, and electric lines. Again, we are reminding candidates that posters or tarpaulin should only be size 2 by 3 feet and should only be put up in public markets, barangay centers, as well as plazas. And that's the show for tonight, guys, as we continue to
I
eat.
think Danny's excited to finish the rest of
Yeah,
the
because
vegetables.
it's 9 o'clock.
Which is why
It's
she's
really
like,
alanganin.
okay, let's finish. Let's
We're One News, all sides all the time.
Thanks for tuning in. Have a good night and a good weekend.